Staffing cash flow isn't hard, the pattern is just unforgiving. If you run a staffing business, the core reality is simple. You pay people weekly, your clients pay you later. That timing gap, not margin, not demand, is what determines how fast you can grow and how much stress that growth creates. Today, I want to talk about invoice factoring, not as a fallback, not as a bridge you eventually outgrow, but as a deliberate way to collapse the revenue cycle down to roughly 24 hours. Because when cash moves at the speed of work performed, growth stops being constrained by timing. Staffing has one of the cleanest cash flow patterns in business. Revenue is earned daily, payroll is paid weekly, cash is collected on delay. That creates a predictable and repeatable funding gap. Invoice factoring works exceptionally well in staffing because the invoices themselves are high-quality financial assets. 1. Short-duration receivables. These are 30-60-day invoices tied to hours already worked, not long-term projects or speculative revenue. 2. Verifiable performance. Time cards, approvals, rates, and contracts create objective proof that value has already been delivered. 3. Distributed credit risk. Risk lives across many end clients, not in a single obligation. Because of this, factoring doesn't create artificial liquidity. It converts earned revenue into usable cash fast. In practical terms, it allows a staffing firm to operate as if clients paid within 24 hours instead of 30 or 45 days. That single shift changes everything: hiring velocity, client capacity, geographic expansion, operational confidence. This is why both small firms and very large staffing companies around the world use receivables-based funding as a core operating system, not a temporary solution. The risk with factoring is not longevity. The risk is treating a permanent engine like a temporary patch. Problems arise when factoring is layered on without adjusting how the business is managed. That usually shows up in 3 predictable ways. First, margin blindness. Gross margin looks healthy, but no one is evaluating margin after timing is engineered. The issue isn't cost, it's visibility. Second, growth without design volume increases, but no one pauses to ask whether that growth is intentionally funded or simply absorbed. Third, client behavior tolerance. Slow-paying clients stop triggering analysis because liquidity is no longer painful. In those cases, factoring isn't failing. The business is failing to treat cash flow as a system. Sophisticated operators don't ask, "Can we stop using factoring someday?" They ask, "How do we use this engine deliberately?" At scale, factoring does 3 critical things. 1, it compresses the cash cycle. Revenue behaves like near real-time cash instead of delayed cash. 2, it decouples growth from balance sheet friction. Sales no longer outpace liquidity. 3, it replaces uncertainty with math. Funding becomes predictable, modeled, and intentional. In these firms, factoring isn't something to graduate from. It's part of how the business is architected. The result isn't dependency, it's control. The most dangerous pattern isn't long-term use of factoring. It's using it without continuously understanding the underlying exposure. If leadership can't quickly answer which clients consume the most funding, which payment behaviors create drag, which growth actually improves cash efficiency, then the business isn't underfunded, it's underobserved. And that fragility only shows up under pressure. A holiday payroll, a delayed approval cycle, a sudden growth opportunity that should have been easy to say yes to. Timing always reveals the truth. This isn't about deciding whether factoring is right. It's about understanding what role it already plays or should play in your growth model. This week, ignore rates, contracts, and structures. Instead, ask one grounding question. Which one client, if it paid 15 days slower, would put you in a payroll scramble? That answer tells you whether your cash flow engine is engineered or still exposed to timing.